My final thoughts are that I really do hope that everyone will connect with someone. Look to your left, look to your right. You're looking at a mentor, and you're also looking at someone that you can mentor in something. Think of yourself as the most valuable, precious, natural resource that exists in the world, and that is your knowledge, your values, and your skills that you hold. And that can be anything from recipes all the way to astrophysics. It doesn't matter what it is. And go out and engage in the world.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Deborah Heiser, and I'm so happy that she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me on. I'm thrilled to be here.
Wow, thank you. And I would like to introduce you to the audience, of course. So you are the author of the Mentorship Edge, and you are an applied developmental psychologist and CEO and founder of the Mentor Project. You are featured in TEDx, Marshall Goldsmith, 100 Coaches and Thinkers, 50 Radar. You also serve as an adjunct professor in psychology. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Deborah Heiser.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I forgot to mention Dr. Deborah Heiser, right? I apologize. Okay, so my first question to you is, when I find my question here, what inspired you to start the Mentor Project and what impact do you hope it achieves?
So I was inspired to start the Mentor Project. It came out of left field, so to speak. I am an aging researcher, or was doing that. And someone talked to me and said, what do we have to look forward to as we grow older? And I didn't have any positive answers. And because I was researching all the things we don't want to have, like depression, Alzheimer's, frailty. And so I started to look at what we have to look forward to. And our emotional development is really incredible. We can expect to be happier as we grow older, and all of these things that were sort of new to me. So I really dug into the research and found that in midlife, we hit a stage where we want to give back to others. And that stage is called generativity. And within that is mentorship, volunteering, and philanthropy. And I chose to look at mentorship carefully because not everyone can get their name on a building. And volunteering is great. Most people get involved in it, but it's not coming from us. It's someone else's idea. And so I started to talk to mentors, and they were saying, we have a really hard time getting in touch with mentees. So top leaders in their fields had no access to mentees. And I thought, we have to change that. And we started with a small group of people just to see if it would work. And it did. So the mentors and mentees were then getting connected, and it grew from like 10 people to 60, then to 80, and now more than 100. So it's really starting it was we didn't expect anything to happen, but it did.
Wow, that's so beautiful what you describe here. And I just checked your YouTube channel, and I think there are some examples of meetings as well. I found videos of your project. Thank you so much for sharing. My next question is, how has your experience as an applied developmental psychologist influenced your approach to mentorship?
Well, as a developmental psychologist, I look at what we can expect through the lifespan. And most of us know all that we should expect as kids. We can expect to walk and talk by a certain age and do certain hit developmental milestones, but most people don't think of hitting developmental milestones in adulthood. And when we hit midlife, there's a developmental milestone that I talked to you about just a second ago, which is generativity. And that is really how I'm able to see developmental psychology really impacting how we can look at personal development and even professional development by applying generativity. If we can be more generative in how we think, wanting to give back to others, we're able to stop wasting all of our expertise and knowledge that goes out the door when people retire and do things like that. So it's really developmental theory and science that's fueling everything that I'm doing with mentoring.
Okay, I understood because first of all, I thought, my journey was like I decided to study psychology when I was 35. So I started because I did economics before, and then I had a calling, and I thought when I read this word developmental psychology, it's not my mother language. So I thought, what is it? Because I know personal development, right? And I thought, what is it? And now I know it is what we study when we study the development of kids. Of course, the first
Yeah.
5 years or 7 years or whatever. And this is what you mentioned. It is normal for us to study kids. And then what happens next? You said, and do I understand it right? Let's say the first half of one's life, you accumulate knowledge, and now it's time to give back in the second half, for example, to share your wisdom. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now you are right. And when you read developmental
Mm.
literature, it is not a language thing. It is just so dense. It is so hard to read some of it, like Piaget and things like that. It is hard to read. But there's so much. Think of development as an emotional trajectory, not just a physical trajectory. And so you're exactly right about the knowledge. As we start as little babies, just like we're learning to walk and talk, we're developing our emotions. That's why as adults, when something doesn't go our way, we don't throw ourselves on the ground and throw a tantrum like a 2-year-old would, right? We have coping skills for frustrations and all of the other things. So as we get older and older, we're taking in all the wisdom and things that we're learning and incorporating that and interacting with others in more meaningful ways. And it's just like a tree. If you have a little seedling, by the time we are old, that is when the tree develops and grows fruit. That's when it's bearing its fruit. It's at its prime. That's just when we want, everything from that tree. And that's how we are. If we think of ourselves as a fruit tree, that as we get older, it develops fruit that we all want. And that's the knowledge that we're dropping.
Wow, I understand. I get a glimpse of what you are developing here, so to say, with your language. I understand. So the field is not developed. It is focused on the child's aspect. I understand. And then you mentioned about the emotions. Of course, that makes sense as well. Coping mechanisms. And then I thought about the feeling of fulfillment. And this is maybe it is something else for every person, right? And to find this fulfillment and then in giving back, you mentioned maybe
Yeah.
this is the solution.
It is. If you think about every time you give a gift to someone, say you are watching a child unwrap a gift that you've given them, and they light up and you've given them just the gift you've wanted. You feel so fulfilled, even though you're not getting a physical gift. The gift is watching them accept what you've given them. And that's exactly how it works with our emotional development as we age. We're giving ourselves as the gift, like the apples that fall from our tree, our wisdom and our knowledge. And it really is exciting and fulfilling to see somebody take that and say, that's just what I needed.
Yes, absolutely. And in the first 300 episodes of this podcast, I always ask the same 5 questions to the people. And one of the questions was, what are your gifts and talents? Because I didn't know what were mine, so to say. I was seeking this. And so I always thought in terms of gifts are something given by God or universe or whatever. It is given to you by birth, and the talents are what is developed. And here's the word again, something you develop on purpose or intentional, right? Because you have a desire to do so. So this was my question. What would you say are your gifts and talents?
I think some of my gifts are connecting people, seeing who are good matches for knowledge exchange or for emotional exchange, things that will help both to grow.
So you find the perfect match, so to say. You mentioned the mentor and the mentee.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I would be a matchmaker for mentorship.
I love that. Where do you find the people?
They come to me for the most part. When people know someone else who's mentoring, they say, oh, I'd love to do that. Or it's really been word of mouth. I haven't ever put out anything that says looking for mentors. It's been very organic. What I do know is that most mentors have said, I'm not connected with kids. I'm retiring, I'm not around kids, or they're in the middle of their career, they're just not around kids. And when I say kids, it can be anyone who's a student. So it's when people say go find a mentor, it's not easy for a mentee, and it's also not easy for a mentor. And when I realized that the top 1% of those who are leaders in their fields can't find mentees, that was when I said, ooh, that we need to have like a mentor matcher that really can help bring that together.
And this is you, and I would call it the go-to person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
When you said people come to you, because my question was, how do you find the people? They come to you, then you are the go-to person. You are
Yes.
known for this, and this is so beautiful. So I would say, and I would ask, where can we find you when people want to reach out to you after listening to this episode?
So you can reach me at mentorproject.org. That is where you can learn more about the Mentor Project, or deborahheiser.com. I'm on both of those sites, and you can click, ask a mentor button. You can also click, to connect with me on my own website. There are many ways to connect with me. I also write for Psychology Today, and you can connect with me there as well.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Of course, I have another question. Where's my question? What's the most valuable insight you've gained from working with high-profile leaders in mentorship?
The most profound thing that I've learned is that everyone still wants to learn, even if they're an expert in something. No one is ever done learning, and that people really love giving. When I was younger, I thought that asking for help from somebody who was really high level would be a burden to them, and that I would be, taking up their valuable time. And I've learned that that just is not true. It couldn't be farther from the truth. People like to help, they want to be connected. And because a person has succeeded in many ways, does not mean that they are not willing to be emotionally connected with others.
Yes, that's so true. And it's the common thing, or the thing they have in common, the leaders, the successful leaders as well. They are not afraid to ask for help, and also they like to help others, right?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Wow, that's so great. And then I had a conversation about the difference between coaching and mentorship. And I think the answer was like that coaching and consulting is often, or it is paid, right? And mentorship doesn't have to be paid. I don't know this
That
because
is true.
Germany.
Yes. If you are getting paid, you are not a mentor. And so that's very confusing to people because they'll say, I'm a mentor at work and I get my performance evaluation based on my mentoring. Well, you're not a mentor then. You're maybe an advisor, you're a coach, but you're not a mentor. A mentor is really coming from that generative spirit of wanting to give without expecting something in return. It's an intrinsic motivation, not an extrinsic, which is pay or reward or award.
Oh, I did not know this exactly, but now I know you confirmed it. Thank you so much. And I also learned about mentors that you are not, let's say, in touch, personal touch when you read books, then this can be your mentor as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right now you are a mentor. You're what I would call a modern mentor. When the term was brought about, there was not the technology that we have now. So people are able to feel meaningfully connected to you and take your wisdom that you're giving to them through your podcast, and they're able to get mentorship in that way. So yes, it can be through all kinds of things without actually meeting someone. Is it as strong as an in-person mentorship? No. But is it still mentorship? Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing and for clarifying. I understand it more now, of course. And I thought about this text or this work, this book of not text. These are lectures by Thomas Troward. Entering into the spirit of it. It is like also you can feel the mentor when you read the book between the lines, and you can ask the text, "What do you want to tell me?" But if you don't understand the text, then, right?
Yeah, yes. So, there are also new AI bots. So, like Marshall Goldsmith is a coach, but he has an AI bot where he can mentor other coaches. It's like he's there, it's his words that he has been able to put into it, where he is able to answer questions that, other coaches want to learn from him. So, yes, those sorts of things, even if it's a text chat in that way, like reading, like you just mentioned in that way. Yes, tech is going to be changing, and mentorship is going to change with the tech.
Wow, and there are also like you can put it in the chat, and then the thing or the AI answers in the
Yeah.
voice of the mentor.
Yes. Isn't that
I
interesting?
Yeah, I learned it this week. This
Yeah.
week, I learned how to use this. It's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, let's talk about, yeah, you talked about your mentors and coaches already a little bit. I assume you have coaches yourself. And who was the best you ever had?
I have a lot of mentors in my life, and a lot of them are lateral mentors. My first mentor that I'd say that I really acknowledge as a mentor was when I was 5, and that was my grandfather. Up until, and grandparents are huge mentors. They really are the people who pass down the values of the family to the next generation. I'm going to be coming up to one of my other mentors this Thanksgiving in the US. That's my grandmother. I make her recipe for Thanksgiving every year on the cards that she wrote on her own handwriting. If I miss anything, the whole holiday is off. It just doesn't feel right because it's the values that we have put forward. In terms of professionally, um, I'd say one of the most powerful mentors that I had a while back was a college professor who, outside of being my advisor, would meet me on her own time, and she said to me, "You need to figure out what you're going to do. Either be in school or don't be in school, but you need to make that decision." And because riding on the line and doing okay in two different things is not the way to be. Be good in something that you really care about and pick it. Like, don't be ambivalent. And I've always resonated with that even today. And so that was a really powerful mentor.
That's a great reminder for us all to be focused, right, on one thing and then develop. There's the word again,
Yeah.
develop that skill, and then you become an expert expert, right?
Yes, or you get more enjoyment, or the output that you put out is greater. But a mentor can call you out on things that you are not seeing in yourself. And that's what's really valuable a lot of times, is that they can say you will not succeed as well as you could if you continue in this way. And we all need that from time to time.
That's true. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, let's talk about your goals. Do you set goals? You said already, I think. And what is one of your next projects?
So the goals that I have are to really show people and allow the mentor project to show people, and through the book that I wrote, The Mentorship Edge, that mentoring is all around us. We are engaged in mentoring all the time and we never acknowledge it. We don't realize it. We think it's something else. Like every time I do something that I can relate back to my grandmother, it doesn't have to be work related, that mentoring is everywhere, and it's really something that is important and valuable in our later lives in particular. And so that the goal is to get that word out as much as possible so that more people can be um, really engaged in mentorship in the maximum way possible. And so to move that forward, I'm really hoping that I can continue to write about it in ways and get the mentor project out to more and more people.
Wow, I love that. So you already have a new fan in me. Thank you so much. I follow you everywhere on social media, and this is my next question. Where can we find you? Yes, I asked that already. Maybe you can answer also how we can support you. What are you looking for?
Okay, absolutely. Well, you can find me on social media. But the biggest support people can give is by supporting the programs that are part of the Mentor Project. Everything we do is volunteer. It's 100% volunteers who are giving their time to students around the world. So students patent with us for free. They are able to do research with us and learn new skills. So supporting us in any way with a donation or sponsorship for a project or some of our scholarships that we offer would be tremendously helpful. And also, supporting via social media, the Mentor Project as well. And finally, finding students that it doesn't matter how old they are. You can be a graduate student and you can be in your 50s. It doesn't matter. As long as you're a student, connect them with us because we want to help.
Oh, you mean student? I have to clarify. Is a student is someone who is enrolled in a university program, or I don't know how you
In
count.
any kind of school program from kindergarten through university, and we count graduate school as universities. So it's not age, it's really that we're looking for a person who's a student in some capacity. It doesn't have to be a full-time student, but they need to just be enrolled in at least a class.
Yes, I can relate to that. So when I started at 35, and it took me 11 years, by the way, to finish that bachelor degrees, I had a company beside that and two kids. So I was enrolled in a university. So it's great that you support people. And thank you for clarifying that it's not a question of age. There are people out there, I don't know, in their 70s, 80s and studying, right?
Yeah.
And I love that as well. So I support your project. Thank you for sharing. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
My final thoughts are that I really do hope that everyone will connect with someone. Look to your left, look to your right. You're looking at a mentor, and you're also looking at someone that you can mentor in something. Think of yourself as the most valuable, precious, natural resource that exists in the world, and that is your knowledge, your values, and your skills that you hold. And that can be anything from recipes all the way to astrophysics. It doesn't matter what it is. And go out and engage in the world.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'm blessed by our interview today.
Thank you so much. And I am inspired by you and your story. So thank you for A, having me on, and B, for making me feel inspired today. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, I'm inspired now too, and I see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.